Right now, hundreds of miles from the nearest research station, there's a stretch of seafloor sitting under nearly a kilometer of solid ice, cut off from sunlight for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. No plants have ever grown there. No sunlight has ever touched it. By almost every rule of biology, nothing should be alive down there at all. And yet, when scientists finally drilled through and looked, they found exactly the opposite of nothing. For decades, the assumption in polar biology was simple. Life beneath Antarctica's ice shelves should get sparser the farther you travel from open water and sunlight, eventually thinning out into almost nothing but the occasional scavenger passing through in the dark. Scientists had drilled a handful of boreholes before, and what they found mostly supported that idea. Small, mobile creatures like fish, worms, and krill, but almost nothing that stayed permanently rooted in one place that far from any food source. But here's where things get strange. In 2021, a team from the British Antarctic Survey was drilling through the Filchner-Ronne ice shelf in the Weddell Sea, roughly 260 kilometers from the open ocean, hoping to collect mud samples from the seafloor below. The ice alone was nearly 3,000 feet thick, and the water beneath it sat at a bone-chilling minus 2.2 degrees Celsius in complete and permanent darkness. Instead of mud, their drill hit something solid, a boulder. Annoyed but curious, they lowered a camera down anyway. What they saw shouldn't have been possible according to the existing theory. Attached to that boulder were stationary, filter-feeding animals, sponges, and several creatures that may be entirely new to science, living and apparently thriving hundreds of kilometers from any sunlight or obvious food source. Later analysis suggested ocean currents may have carried this particular community's food from somewhere between 625 and 1,500 kilometers away, depending on the direction of water flow. That's not a short supply chain. That's an entire ecosystem apparently surviving on scraps that traveled further than most people drive in a week. Dr. Hugh Griffiths, the marine biogeographer who led the study, called it exactly what it was: a fortunate accident that pushed ideas in a completely different direction. The team hadn't set out looking for life. They'd stumbled into a colony that, by the existing rules of Antarctic biology, technically shouldn't have been able to exist where it was found. And that discovery wasn't a one-off. In 2025, researchers aboard the research vessel Falkor 2, operated by the Schmidt Ocean Institute, got an unexpected opportunity when a massive iceberg calved away from an ice shelf in the Bellingshausen Sea, instantly exposing over 500 square kilometers of seafloor that had been sealed under ice for potentially centuries. Using a remotely operated vehicle, they found something even more striking than the 2021 discovery: a rich, diverse, actively thriving ecosystem, large sponges, clusters of anemones, and even an octopus resting on the seafloor over a kilometer down in a habitat that had been completely cut off from sunlight the entire time it had been forming. Except there's one problem neither expedition could fully answer. Scientists still don't know exactly how these ecosystems get enough food to survive centuries of near total isolation from the surface. The leading idea involves ocean currents slowly ferrying organic material and nutrients from distant open water, essentially a very slow, very long distance delivery system running underneath one of the most inhospitable places on the planet. But the math on exactly how much nutrition actually arrives and how it's efficient enough to support entire colonies still isn't settled. Here's why that matters beyond pure curiosity. Ice shelves cover roughly a third of Antarctica's entire continental shelf, an area of about 5 million square kilometers, and only a space roughly the size of a tennis court had ever been directly studied through boreholes before these discoveries. That means almost the entire habitat beneath Antarctica's ice remains a near total blank on the map of life on Earth, and every new borehole or newly calved iceberg keeps revealing ecosystems scientists didn't know were there. So here's the full picture. Beneath Antarctica's ice shelves isn't an empty frozen wasteland the way it looks from above. It's one of the largest, least explored habitats left on the planet, hiding sponges, anemones, and possibly entire species we don't have names for yet, surviving in total darkness on nutrients that may have traveled over 1,000 kilometers to reach them. The ocean isn't empty, it's simply waiting for us to discover what's still hiding below. If you enjoy exploring the unknown, there's plenty more waiting beneath the surface.